Welcome back to Simple Truth. We're bringing out some truths out of the story of 1 Samuel 26. The story of David and Saul, a redo of David sparing Saul's life. Last week I asked you the question, right? Whose two are you? Are you somebody's two? And are you doing it well? Right? Are you actually there for them? Or are you telling them that I'm going with you into the enemy's camp, but you're not anywhere around? That's not where you are, right? We pick up the story. We're going to pick it up in verse 8. It says this: Then Abishai said to David, God has given your enemy into your hand this day. Please let me strike. Please let me strike him down, pin him to the ground, right? Again, let me go back and read verse 7, which says, So David and Abishai went to the army by night. There lay Saul sleeping within the encampment with his spear stuck in the ground at his head, and Abner and the army lay around him. So let me go backwards and start with that part, right? And say, notice David actually really went to the enemy camp. He actually went inside the enemy camp. He actually went to the center of the enemy's camp, and he finds Saul laying there. Sometimes God doesn't want you to just stand on the outside shooting arrows into the camp. You know, those word missiles that you and I are good at, where we just, from a distance, like, oh, hey, maybe something will stick. Maybe we'll kill something this way. Sometimes God wants you to walk really into the enemy camp, and he will give you those moments. Sometimes he gives you those moments and he never tells you, hey, this is what this moment is. You have no idea until later on that, holy cow, I was in trouble. Sometimes he tells you on the front side, this is going to be dangerous, you're going to be in trouble. Guessing this was one of those times where David knew he was walking into 3,000 men armed, and there's two of them, right? This is a little bit like David and Goliath. David is constantly aligning himself with God, where God is doing these kinds of things. So they walk into the middle of the camp, and they find Saul sleeping away, man, and David's two decides to offer up a suggestion. And that suggestion is, hey, let's take Saul's spear and let's run him through with it. Let's pin him to the ground with this whole thing, right? It's an amazing thing because he puts with this, God gave him to you. I had that discussion about that down here this morning. Right? How do we know when things are of God and when they're not of God? How do we know those things? Right? So this looks like it's a God thing. Holy cow, we just walked into the enemy camp, walked right up to Saul, and there's a spear, and it's all ready to run him through. Notice what God allowed. God allowed all of that to happen. It looks like it is a vengeance is mine, thus saith Andy moment. Instead of vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord moment. Like, it's all set up, it's ready to go. Who would not lay this out? You have been called into your work office. You have a chance to just blow up your boss. You have a chance to blow up coworkers. You have a chance to get back what you lost. You have a chance to tell your wife, your husband, your kids how you really feel. You can tell your pastor out. Man, this is a tailor-made moment. I can reveal to everybody how terrible this person is. I can reveal to everybody how I want to get this person, right? Like, I can take this person down and it would be for the good of everybody. Not just that. God already said it's okay because he anointed you and you're the real king and this guy's an imposter. So why don't you take this opportunity to get rid of him? We talked about that down here this morning too. Not every moment is a moment for you and I to open our mouths. It's not a moment to show people how smart we are. It's not a moment to show people how we disagree with them. It's not a moment for us to put people in their place, to put people down, to make people feel stupid. That's not our place. Even though the opportunity arose. I love asking the question, can I ask you a hard question? Not every opportunity is from God with that. Sometimes that opportunity will just become a gossip fest. Sometimes that moment will do some bad things. It'll reveal some moments some hidden things that weren't ready to come out. You just painted somebody into a corner. Right? Not every moment is a God moment. You have to know. The servant, rightly, by the way, said, hey, we're in the camp. Here's the situation. Let's do this. Have you been there? Have you been in the place, right? Have you been in the place where it looks like God has given you all this stuff, and the truth of the matter is God hasn't given you any of that? He just wants to see if you'll do it your way or his way. Are you going to stick to it? Do you really mean that? Do you really, really mean that? Remember, let me close with this, a story of a young woman who had, just aspirations to be a woman of integrity. And one of the things that came up was she talked about finding money. And frequently, people find money. They find money on the ground, or they accidentally find it, in the cushions when they go to visit somebody's house, and they take it. There are people who actually do that kind of stuff, right? But this was a woman who just wanted to be a person of integrity. And she said, no, I would try really, really hard to find whose money it was, right? Now, again, when people lose $5, $20, whatever, that's really, really hard. This woman worked in a restaurant, and one night she was cleaning up a table, and she looked underneath one of the chairs, and there was a couple $100 bills that were dropped on the floor. And again, this very easily could have been a situation where you just take the money and they go, I can't do it. But it wouldn't have been too hard to figure out who was just sitting there, right? Or at least make an attempt to figure out who was sitting there. And she really struggled with this whole thing until somebody reminded her of what she had said and who she was trying to be. And then it became a no-brainer, and then it became easy. Not that there wasn't wishing that it didn't have to be. Who we have as our two, that's important, because they don't change their mind and try to help us be somebody we're not. They remind us of who we said we want to be. That's hard. That's really, really hard, because we don't like it in that moment. That $200 is ours. That kingdom is ours. That crown is ours. You realize that David had to wait quite a long time after this moment to get a crown that he had right there in his hands. Where are you? Right? Where are you on this? You chew on that. We'll see you next time right here. Simple truth.